What if money suddenly disappeared? The world woke up, and in an instant, money ceased to exist. Banks froze, stock exchanges halted, cards became worthless pieces of plastic, and wallets empty souvenirs of a bygone era. ATM screens showed only an error, and banking apps displayed zeros. Cash, deposits, cryptocurrencies, everything had vanished as if it had never existed. What had provided a sense of security yesterday turned to dust today. The first hours brought only shock and silence. People still tried to pay with cards in cafes and shops, but the terminals refused to work. Vendors shrugged. Some joked about the end of the world, but the laughter quickly faded. It wasn't just the financial system collapsing. Trust itself was crumbling. Social media lit up with rumors of government conspiracies, cyber attacks, and secret elites who had decided to restart the world. Trade stopped almost immediately. Stores and online services shut their doors not because goods were gone, but because no one knew how to sell them anymore. Supply chains broke. Factories refused to ship products without payment guarantees. International contracts were suspended, and construction sites went silent. In cities, the value of the smallest things skyrocketed. Batteries, salt, soap, matches. Makeshift barter markets sprang up in the streets. Someone traded a canister of gasoline for food. Another swapped a sack of potatoes for warm clothes. Former bank branches now had tables with signs reading "trade" or "looking for." Children played with useless credit cards, building towers out of them. But where no deal could be struck, force spoke. Food warehouses were looted, and security companies fell apart. Without salaries, workers simply left. Gradually, the chaos became more visible. In one city's main square, people gathered around a woman handing out bags of grains and canned food left over from a closed restaurant. Infrastructure began to crumble. Power companies couldn't pay fuel suppliers or workers, so electricity and gas were cut off more frequently. Public transport in cities ran only where drivers agreed to take passengers in exchange for food or fuel. Hospitals teetered on the brink. Surgeons accepted payment in goods or tools. Pharmacies traded medicine for warm clothes, rice, or vegetables. Complex medical equipment broke down and went unrepaired. Ports and airports emptied. Container ships sat with cargoes no one came to claim. Televisions, frozen meat, clothing. At night, locals quietly opened containers, taking food and materials. Planes flew only on humanitarian missions, and pilots treated fuel like gold. Cities quickly realized that without money, globalization was over. Each region locked itself within its own resources. Where there was food and water, life continued. Where there wasn't, decline began. Food guilds and survival workshops emerged. Alliances of farmers, fishermen, blacksmiths, and tailors who became the new elite. Former lawyers, brokers, and marketers who just yesterday lived in expensive apartments now stood in line for fish alongside former janitors. In the steppes, nomads with camels supplied milk and meat to entire cities. In cold regions, hunters saved communities from starvation. In megacities, exchange hubs appeared on every corner. A portrait by an artist could be swapped for a blanket. A street musician's performance for dinner for his family. In one such workshop in the suburbs, a man repaired bicycles, receiving bread and milk for each job. Nearby, his wife sewed warm jackets from recycled blankets. People brought her materials, knowing that in these jackets, their children would survive the winter. After a few weeks, society began to change more deeply. The decline of the white collars became obvious. Specialists who once worked with numbers and reports now learned to plant potatoes or fix roofs. Meanwhile, those with practical skills gained new status. A cook could feed an entire community, a seamstress could keep people warm, and a toolmaker could keep craftsmen working. Some communities introduced local currencies, wooden tokens, ration coupons, or even digital credits in closed networks powered by solar energy. Others fully switched to subsistence living. In rural areas, people once again planted gardens, repaired clothes, and built furniture. Skills once deemed unprofitable now saved lives. Crime rose where resources were scarce. Looting became commonplace, and even small stocks of bread were guarded like bank vaults once were. Some areas turned into micro-states with their own rules, customs, checkpoints, and security forces. Yet, despite the chaos, cooperation emerged. In the evenings, bonfires burned in town squares, where people warmed themselves, exchanged news, and traded goods. In Latin America, streets turned into barter carnivals, drums, singing, and at the same time, fierce bargaining for every handful of coffee beans. In Asia, entire neighborhoods cooked together, sharing ingredients so no one went hungry. In Europe, empty supermarkets became community kitchens, where former competitors stood side by side, stirring the same pot. On the wall of a ruined bank in one city, someone wrote, "We forgot that money was only an agreement. Now we make agreements between people." And though the old system could one day return, the world has already changed. From the ruins, a new reality was emerging, without accounts, but with new deals. Here, value lay not in numbers, but in trust, labor, and the ability to stand together. And in this new silence, without the rustle of banknotes, began the story of a world learning to live again.